Well, good morning, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and it is a beautiful Tuesday morning. It is 6 degrees already. Here in southern British Columbia, and that would make it 43 spring. I was just watching my spring bulbs as I came out. I think that's why we all love spring, right? It's the colors. The hyacinths are out. Well, they are here where I am. And I understand that for Charlotte and a few people on the east side, things are not quite as sunny. But really the hyacinths are out. The pretty pinks and blues, and I'm pretty sure any minute now the bluebells will come out along with the tulips, and that's always a lovely combination. You know, bluebells are basically, they always remind me of England, I must admit. I guess in my youth I walked through so many woods with bluebells. I have really strong memories, so I always love having them in the garden. It's just that I remember that color, that vivid green and the blue of the bluebells. It's just such a beautiful contrast and awesome. Well, I did think about whether or not I should do an April Fool's Day joke on you guys. I did give it consideration this morning. And I decided against it because by the time I get this up, this is going to be way past April Fool's Day, and therefore I should have done it yesterday, and we all know that I should have done it yesterday. And so, and the other thing was, what would I do on April Fool's Day on that I was going to quit broadcasting or quit doing DearMamaSal? Well, you guys would never have believed that. I'm watching one of those garbage emptiers. I always think that's so clever. I wonder who came up with that. It's a really clever thing. So anyway, I gave it thought and then forgot about it. And decided, no, I'm not going to do that to everybody. Over. End of story. However, I'm pretty sure that some of you got caught, so do let us know what you got caught on, if you did. I'm sure I will get caught. I'm so easily caught. So I'm trying to think of some of the best April Fool's Day jokes that I played on people in my time. And I did some. I think the one that I remember was that I'd been at a business dinner, and unfortunately one of my clients had accidentally hit a spoon somebody was drinking soup, eating soup, and they hit a spoon, and the spoon went up and went over the sequin top of the wife of another client. Well, you know, you had to be there, but it was really funny because she was a little bit pompous to start with. So you understand, some of us were quite pleased it happened, although, you know, it was sad about the sequin top thing. So what I did was the next day, I phoned the client and said, you know, I just got a call from George, whatever his name was, the husband of the wife. And he just said that the wife took the top to the dry cleaners, and that the dry cleaner confirmed that the top was ruined because they would never be able to get the stain out. And as he undoubtedly noticed, it was a designer sequin top, and she would be sending him the bill for the $1,000 or whatever it was that I made up. It was funny. You don't want to hear the language at the other end of the phone. And I let him stew with that for a good couple of hours before I told him Happy April Fool's Day. And I tell this story probably every April Fool's Day, but it is my best one. And you need a bit of background on it. And the background is that I always used to tell my salespeople, you know, if ever you lose a major account, how you lose it will determine whether you'll ever get it back again. In other words, if you stomp and slam things around and go, what the, you know, da, 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 you know, that doesn't show very much professionalism. But if you go, hey, obviously we did something to mess this up, and I will work with you so that we get the opportunity to try again, you know, and really do it with a lot of professionalism, then our chances of getting it back again at some point is good. So anyway, I had a really good young man that was my sort of right hand, and he was just very professional, very good at everything. And so I phoned up a major client, his biggest one. And that client was worth millions to him, and we're talking 35 years ago. So you understand, millions 35 years ago was multi-millions today. And anyway, so it was a major client. And I had the ad agency phone him up and call him in. And the advertising director said, Mike, I'm so sorry. We just want to tell you that the client's decided he doesn't want to go with, you know, we had like 16 consumer magazines, and he's decided not to use your stable of magazines anymore. And Mike said, any of them? You know, and he said, no, we're not going to use them. We got a really good deal from the opposition, and we have to go with it. You know, it's just too good to miss. So, and Mike said, I totally understand. I'm not sure where our figures went wrong here, but I really would like to work with you and the client to work out where our numbers went totally wrong, and so that we can work towards this again next time. But apparently, as he was saying this, you know, you could almost hear the tears in his voice. You know how your voice slightly crackles when... just watching the snow on those mountains again. Anyway, so majestic. So his voice was just cracking just a little bit. And the director of this advertising agency looked at him and he said, Mike, I can't do this to you anymore. And he goes, do what? And he said, well, it's about now I meant to tell you, Sal said Happy April Fool's Day. And he said, really? So you knew I was in for trouble. Anyway, so they both had a good laugh, and that's part of the whole thing about April Fools, isn't it? Everybody should have a good laugh. So anyway, he had a really good laugh, and so what we did was, you know, I just carried on working, and I don't know why, I clean forgot all about it for a year. And the following April Fool, You know, by then I was just completely oblivious of what I'd done the year before. The following April Fool's, I was particularly busy, and I clean forgot it was April Fool's, and everybody knew it. And Mike had all my senior staff resign. One by one, they came in. And you know, the first one resigns and you go, wow, that's really sad, but you know, these things happen. And then the second one, and the third. I mean, all my top people were all resigning. And I must admit, by the third one, the tears were in my eyes. I was pretty upset by the first, and I was very upset by the second. By the third one, I was losing my cool. Anyway, so then they took pity on me and told me, yeah, right. And I know I've told the story before, but I need to tell it again because I think it's really important for people to understand this. You know, this guy Mike was such a good guy. He was really talented, and I had no intentions of moving and giving up my job. But he deserved a better job than just being my understudy, if you get my drift. And I quietly, behind the scenes, spoke to, I think it was the Reader's Digest, who were in need of a senior person. And I said to them, you know, you need to see this guy. Do it in a way that he doesn't know I know. And do me a favor, don't tell him that I orchestrated this, and unless you decide to employ him. If you decide to employ him, then it's okay that he knows. Because then it will be the truth. And so they did interview him, and they, between the interview and my recommendation, which held a lot of weight, they decided to employ him. And I know a lot of people said to me, how could you possibly do that? He was your right-hand person. You know, by doing that, you lessened your own power, if you like. And to me, it's just like, how could I not do it? I never understood the smallness, if you like, of people's thinking. And I guess that's why I never although I did pretty well, and I'm saying I never did well in really big corporations, but I didn't, because, you know, I'm not one of those people where it's the cost of doing business that you suddenly do nasty things to people, or it's the cost of doing business when you suddenly fire half your staff when they've got mouths to feed. I've never quite gone with that philosophy. I really like the philosophy of the company I'm in right now, who, when the recession came, knew that everybody would be worried for their jobs. You know, because obviously you can't go through a recession and not have people lose jobs. And I couldn't believe it. They called everybody in round about, you know, halfway down the recession, if you like. Called everybody in and just let us all know there would be no firing or laying off of staff. That they would do everything they needed to do, and they had the ability to do it, to fund the company in such a way that there would be no firings. So we should all, there wouldn't be any salary increases, obviously, but there would be no firings, and we should all just not worry about it and get on with our jobs and know that our jobs were safe. Wow. And they said if that ever changes, we'll call you back in and let you know. It's probably the reason why they have staff stay 30 years. In most companies, staying there for 5 years is considered a long time. Well, I've been there 8 and I'm still a newbie. Do you know what I mean? It's just like people stay at this company a long time. Can it be frustrating? Can it be difficult at times? You bet. Is it very stressful? Yep, most of the time. But you don't forget things like that, because that's about good people. And I always tell new people, you need to understand this is not a normal company. And you need to understand it and appreciate it. And here are some of the reasons it's not normal. It is such a pretty day, everybody. There's not a cloud in the sky that I can see. It's like, it's almost a summer day, except it's a bit chilly. It's 7 degrees now. But it looks like a summer's day. It's so pretty out there. Awesome. All right, so what else is new? I wanted to say that part of my thought of the day was an extension of what I said yesterday. It's all how you process things that makes your life okay. I've got some taxi that was moved to the right, and something told me there was something wrong about the way he did that, and then he just decided to go to the left instead. I was very lucky. It's all about how you process things that will make your life heaven or hell. Something went horribly wrong in my life on Saturday. I clean missed an appointment. And I'm talking an appointment where people were waiting for me and waiting for me to speak. I don't know what happened. It wasn't in my day timer. I have no knowledge of agreeing to do this. And I'm certain some of you have got your mouths sort of dropped open, going, oh my goodness. Now, I found out about it 3 o'clock in the morning, Sunday morning, when I was busy checking something, and I suddenly found what I guess was a last-minute email that I hadn't seen. And I didn't ever see it. So I wonder how many of you would have just, worried yourself sick. I wrote an instant email and explained the truth. I am so sorry I wasn't there. I need you to know I had no record of this in my day timer, and that's my bad. For some reason, it wasn't in my mind. And I am totally to blame, and I am so sorry. There's nothing that I can do to make this right. And with that, I turned over and went to sleep. I'm talking about it today because I realized that I could have spent days wringing my hair out, worried about people thinking what a terrible person I was and how I don't keep my commitments, and yada, 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 yada. The truth is, a lot of people there know me quite well. And that perhaps was my saving grace, because a lot of people know me well enough to know I do keep my commitments. In fact, I work very hard at that, and I hope you do too. I don't promise people things. I never promise I will be there. But if I say I'll be there, I will be. And this time, I wasn't. And, you know, in a lifetime of doing this, this is only the second time it's happened to me, and it is the second time. And the first time I managed to get to where I needed to be late, but I got there, because luckily it was fairly close to where I lived. But this is the first time I clean knew nothing about it. So what I processed in my mind is, can I change it? I can't change it. I can't turn the clock back and remember it and go. So I just have to let it go. Will that number of people judge me harshly? Maybe. And if they do, I deserve it. But I also know that half of those people know me well enough to know something went wrong. This is not normal behavior for me. And so, you know, I take comfort in that. However, it doesn't make it better. So you look at it and you go, this is a horrible thing to have had happen. But the lesson that I want you to get from this is, it happens. Mistakes happen. Nobody died. Some people will have got angry, probably, or upset with me. But I can't make it right. I can't redo the event and be there. So I have to let it go. And I wanted to talk about it because I think it might be a big enough thing for some of you to see what I'm talking about when I say it's how you process it that makes the difference. I can process it that I am a terrible, terrible person. Well, I know that's not true. I can process it that, oh, how will I ever get asked to speak again after this? It's not true. You know, it's just like it isn't true. I made a mistake. And if I'm not proud of it, I'm not saying, yay, never mind, you know, I feel horrible about it, but I'm not going to be able to change it. So I've decided to process it and go, it is what it is. Let me move on with my life. And in terms of that, that's what I'd like you to do as well. Whatever it is that's bugging you, it is what it is. Get on with your life. Have a good day. This is DearMamaSal saying bye-bye for now.